What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to tackle a controversial topic. I want to talk about if Life is Strange Remastered Collection looks terrible. Does it look terrible, okay? This is something that, and I want to address it, and I want to address it the way people online are talking about it, because as always with people online, it will be extremes, right? And I understand that. I get that. I think it's important to remember that and know that when we talk about it, but okay, so, there was the teaser for it months ago. I loved it. I love the teaser. I love the idea of bringing back 1 and Before the Storm. They're my favorite. Life is Strange 1 is my favorite. The Farewell episode is actually my favorite episode of Life is Strange. Okay, all good. All good. I loved how it looked, all that stuff. Then we had it was a long trailer. I think it was like 3.5 minutes of a trailer that leaked a couple days before Square Enix's show. And I watched it. I didn't post it because I was kind of afraid of things, going wrong there, right? Posting a leaked trailer that's not out yet. And I liked it, okay? And it was a very long trailer. And then the trailer that actually did come out was a lot shorter. It's only like a minute 30, a minute 40, half the length of the trailer that I saw. And anybody that, looked on Reddit at that time, they would have seen, okay? So it was a shorter trailer. Now, to continue to catch people up, trailer was shown, and the reception has, I would say, not been very good, okay? It's not been overwhelmingly bad. Again, to keep things in perspective, okay? If you look at likes, dislikes per videos and stuff, there are a lot of dislikes. I will say that. But a lot is subjective, right? How many likes? It's not being, downvoted to hell, right? There's a lot more likes than there. Well, depends on which video you watch, but there's definitely more likes than there are dislikes. But there are a shockingly high amount of dislikes for something like this, at least than I would have expected, okay? Now, again, you can dislike things for multiple reasons. Then you look to the comments, and comments on YouTube tend to be, sometimes, I guess, extreme. And you'll see a lot of people really upset with how it looks. Now, in my opinion, does it look like god-awful? Does it look horrible? No, it does not. I feel like where the hatred is coming from is, did they do enough to the game to warrant it being called a remaster? And that, I would say, I'm a little bit more willing to listen, and I understand where people are coming from. So, with Life is Strange, again, and there is absolutely a bias, okay? I hate Life is Strange 2. I despise the game. We've talked about that. I was the villain of the internet. I was the villain of, and I've said this before, the villain of Life is Strange 2 wasn't racism. It wasn't the wall. It wasn't the wilderness, of the brothers, it was actually me. If you went on YouTube during the time of Life is Strange 2, I was the villain, okay? Because I just had so many negative things to say about the game. People didn't like that. That's okay. I think actually a lot of people have warmed up to the fact that Life is Strange 2 is not very good. At least not good. Maybe horrible. You'll get there. You'll find out where I was in a couple of years from now. But, I didn't like that game, but I adore Life is Strange. The first game is top 5, top 10, my favorite game of all time. Okay, I love it so much. I love Max. As a character, Hannah Tell did such an amazing job. I actually do like Chloe. I know a lot of people were very annoyed by Chloe. I liked her. I think Ashley Birch did well there too. So, you have to remember that, I guess, for me right now, I love the game. What I would say is this, okay? Well, I'll just jump straight to the point. I don't think it looks as remastered as it could. I'll also say that it definitely seems like it doesn't even look as good as it did in the trailer back, a few months ago. I think the teaser for it. Now, okay, the teaser for it was more like kind of weird drawing pictures that were big, right? It wasn't exactly scenes, so I guess it was probably hard to judge, and we judged it wrong. So I like somebody like me who liked it a lot or thought it looked really good. It was probably premature to say that because we haven't seen it in action yet. Okay, I will say, seeing the trailer now, it doesn't look nearly as good as what, I kind of envisioned for it. And I would say it's just not as big of a remastered jump as I would have expected, okay? However, it's almost like for every negative I have a positive. Okay, the lip syncing in the game is horrible, okay? And they actually addressed that back in the day where they spent a lot of their money on voice actors and the voice work, and they even said, they didn't have the money afterwards to, move the lips as well. Now, I've replayed the game. I've played Life is Strange 1 probably 4 or 5 times. The most recent time was leading into 2. So, granted, I haven't played 1 in a few years. I am going to be playing it, for this remastered collection, but I haven't played it for a few years. I think it still holds up reasonably well. Like, does it look incredible? No. However, there are incredible shots in the game. So getting to the point, 5 to 15 minutes later from what I wanted to say, I think there is almost a timeless ability which is funny I say timeless considering, time travel, but like some of the visuals honestly look so good, and I think will look good for years, although like the way they actually designed the character models and the world itself, like in that engine, of course that's not going to age well. Of course it's going to look bad. Like, I guess it's going to get worse every year, okay? It wasn't the greatest looking game of all time when it came out, and obviously it's not now, like 6 years later, okay? But I think, and I've said it before, which is kind of like almost like a nerdy, like a weird thing to say, the lighting. I love the lighting in the game. And the lighting, I mean literally like the sun, the natural light when you're outside, when you're sitting on a bench, when you're I don't know, like any lighthouse scene. There's a lot of beautiful, beautiful moments in that game. Oh, actually, specifically a lot of the endings. I don't remember if it was the ending of episode 1 or 2, but the one where it ended basically with like it getting dark outside and it just showed all the different areas, kind of like foreshadowing what's to come. I think it was when there was like snow at the very, like there was like a snowdrop or whatever it was, but when they showed multiple locations and it was just very like lighting heavy. I love it to death, and I still think it looks good now. So you could maybe say, like, you're not picking a side, Alex. You're really trying to stay in the middle. I kind of am, but it's kind of because I see both sides to it. Like, I do not think this remaster is as good as it could be. I think, some people were saying, like, they literally just, like, adjusted, like, the cell shading, and that's all they did. And when you see it, when you see, like, the old version, and then you see, like, the brush go across it into the new version, like, yeah, it honestly doesn't look like all that much stuff has changed. But I would say, I agree with that, and I would almost say, like, maybe you just don't need a remastered version then, because there are specific things, mainly that kind of stuff, like how lighting reflects and just the overall lighting. And I would even say the character models, like, while, again, the game definitely doesn't look insanely good, the character models still hold up reasonably well. They always have. They looked okay. I would say they looked pretty good when they came out, and they still look fine now. Like, there's some sort of timeless quality about that stuff, and I just feel like what they're doing with the remaster, like, it's enhancing everything for sure. I'm not going to say that they're not enhancing anything, right? They're definitely enhancing things, but I don't know if they're doing it enough, but also I just don't know if it's the kind of art style where you need to visually increase. It's almost like, well, and I guess this will end the video. Like Life is Strange 2 and even True Colors, right? True Colors, let's say, is kind of the benchmark goal. I will say, though, maybe unpopular opinion, I still value a lot of the looks of the first game that is completely left out of a game like True Colors. Like, clearly the visuals have evolved and the graphics have evolved, and I like how True Colors looks, but it's such a different game than like what Life is Strange was in terms of visuals. Now, you could say maybe that's hypocritical because you could look at like Uncharted 3 to Uncharted 4. Uncharted 3 was still kind of like the blocky faces. There really is no expression on the faces, whereas you go to Uncharted 4 and literally it's like the whole thing. You could see everything. Like, those are very different jumps. And I like, if you remade Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 in Uncharted 4's engine or The Last of Us Part 2's engine, clearly it would be like amazing. However, like, would I look back at it and say, I actually maybe prefer my memory of 1 better? And I think that's kind of what we're getting here. I think the goal of Deck 9 is almost to get these games in remastered form as close as you can to True Colors. Even though you're not going to get it all the way, get it as close as you can by enhancing some graphics, by enhancing the lighting, whatever, the cell shading, whatever you're going to do, get it as close as True Colors as you can get without going the full way. I almost feel like Life is Strange 1 would need a remake to get all the way to where they want it to be. And maybe that's what they should have done, or have just left it alone, because what they've done now is kind of a middle ground where I'm okay with it, because it doesn't, I think, take away from the first game's graphics, because it still looks relatively the same, but you've upset people now because it's not that big of a jump. It's very similar to the first game. Now, again, I like how it looks. I think it holds up. So I'm kind of a weird I'm a weird person to ask about it. You know what I mean? I'm a weird person to make a video about it because I kind of understand the sides. I'm kind of in the middle, but I do think, yeah, I mean, the remaster overall, so far, it's not really that much of a remaster. And I'm not saying I want the first game remade either. Honestly, just leave it alone. That's maybe what they should have done in the first place, though. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think it looks horrible? Do you think, what do you think? Do you think it should have been remade, left alone, all that stuff? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Bell icon turn on. I will be covering this game much more as we get closer to September, as well as True Colors. We'll be playing it. We'll be reviewing it. So many video ideas I've got for both of these games, honestly. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.